Okay, yeah, it says just, they want us to be aware of it, and so we'll bring it up in the
We're
next
aware.
meeting. That's easy enough. What? Probably that four-wheeler thing.
Vote in favor of keep not to rescind it.
Oh, yeah. That's not the first time.
Okay.
My house is on 2 levels, okay? The main entrance has a doorbell.
And she's been running or biking.
Always on the window, scare the hell out of my wife. I was not impressed.
There you go.
I don't have a dog, I don't want one.
They can't bring stuff tonight and expect us to absorb it all that fast. That's from the
Oh, yeah.
four-wheelers.
Well, there is something on the agenda about that.
Well, and you know, nobody sits there for the most part.
Well,
Some of that was
what I brought,
Oh, Larry.
oh yeah. He wants to use abandonment trailer.
They moved us forward.
But see, this is.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
How's the flooding over by
You
you?
moved it, you know, so you gotta let me know if
Thank you. This is
the only
great.
thing is with
Oh, we're
pivoting,
gonna
it
get
pinched
flooded.
it on
We're
that end a little
plenty
more.
wet, that's for sure.
Homes down.
Okay, well,
This is
but
great.
it opened this in the middle.
No, it's just,
Even if
thank
our
you.
spec guys can get
A
lot nicer.
Okay, well, good.
So you can get in a
This
little.
is what I bucked.
I know.
Similar ordinance, so all these different, yeah, and that's one of the reasons that we decided to,
Oh, maybe not quite.
yeah. Go for it.
Can we have Mary introduce Matt?
Right here, this lovely lady right
That's
here.
right,
Now,
I'm the one.
thank you.
Are you keeping track of the time or am I?
I will.
Okay. All right, thank you. I appreciate it. Right. Yes. Oh, we did the minutes. Thank you, so I'll give it an extra month to read them.
It's just we're inundated.
Maybe that's what it takes.
Did we forget?
That'll wait till next time. Yeah, they're not going anywhere.
Must be getting old, you're wearing glasses. I have since 4th grade.
Okay, you can't read all this stuff right now.
Here's those 2 ordinances.
This works. This works. Mm-hmm. I think it does.
Oh, tomorrow.
looks good to me, that's all.
It's okay.
Us fat guys can get in here.
We'll put you on the end. Okay, it's 7 o'clock, so we'll call this meeting to order. Melanie will do the roll call.
Mrs. Krantz. Here.
Mr. Jones.
Here.
Mr. Tim.
Here.
Mr. Piaski.
Here.
Mr. Eckstein.
Here.
Mr. Weddy.
Here.
Mrs. Claudia. Here. Mr. King.
Here.
Mr. Wadle.
Here.
Mr. Crawford. Mark Kirschner is excused. Okay, we'll stand for silent prayer and pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, now we have some citizens signed for public comments. It'll be 3 minutes per person. And first it will be Dave Peterson.
Thank you. I think this is very appropriate, given the events of yesterday, that this is National Public Safety Telecommunications Week. Emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, and emergency medical services. When an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. The safety of our police officers, emergency medical staff, and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Waushara County Communications Center. Public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. Public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers, emergency medical staff, and firefighters by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. Public safety telecommunicators of the Waushara County Communications Center have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. Each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. I ask that the residents of Waushara County remember the week of April 14th through 20th, 2013 to be National Public Safety Telecommunications Week in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep the citizens safe. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we'll hear from Maureen Wist.
Thank you. My name is Maureen Wist. I'm a resident of Waushara County. I was here in the fall of 2011, at which time the ATV ordinance was approved and then adopted in Waushara County. I'm here tonight along with other area residents, local business owners, and supporters. And in spirit, nearly 400 people who have signed petitions willingly in the area to keep this 0.2 of a mile section on County I open for ATV travel. We've only had 3 incidents in the last year, 2 concerning the same 3 individuals who have not been on the trail since the incident occurred back on Memorial Day of 2012. The other incident occurred, 2 riders rode past, no ATV sign in the town of Richford. Both of these incidents were resolved by club members who confronted the individuals, told them the right way to go, that they have to abide by the regulations and by the posted signs we have in local businesses, or the routes would be closed. We talked to property owners along the route, including Amish families. We did not discover any new incidents or complaints besides those 3 that I just discussed. We have numerous favorable comments. Property owners, residents, ATVs aren't as loud as they thought. There aren't as many as they thought. You normally see 2 to 4 at a time. Them very friendly. They blend in with other travelers on the road. The Amish have actually asked that we increase the speed in front of their house because they don't want the ATVs slowing down and looking at their homes. But of course it's 10 miles an hour within 150 feet of a dwelling. I've handed out tonight a map. This is our 2012 map, which is going to be increased because we just recently got approval for about 50 more miles of routes in Marquette County. Like I said, we've been posting signs in area businesses. We've been attempting to educate the ATV riders along the way. We've talked to a lot of the ATV riders and have gotten nothing but favorable comments. The other handout is a 12-month study that was done in 2011 and 2012 by UW Extension of 48 miles of similar trails and routes in Lafayette, Crawford, and Greene County in the southwestern part of the state. They interviewed 730 operators. In that 12-year period, that area took in up to $13 million. People were there shopping in their businesses, staying in motels, campgrounds. I'm not saying that we could realize results like that here, but I think the businesses deserve a chance. I think it would be an injustice if that 0.2 of a mile on County II was closed to ATV travel. In the future, we would like to ask for other sections as well, especially County B in the town of Richford to reach a missed business. So we thank you very much for considering keeping the route open.
Thank you. And now we'll hear from Donna Richards.
Donna Richards, thank you for having us tonight. I am representing the Marquette County ATV Club as well, and I just wanted to kind of add a little bit. We've been working with some of the legislation in the state to increase some of the areas for ATV routes, not trails, but routes, so that we can increase the businesses. The state is recognizing that ATVs do bring in revenue from all over to our small businesses, especially in our smaller towns, and is really helping them out. So we are working with the legislation to open up more roads, including state routes as well. So this is something that I think Waushara County should recognize, that this is not going to be going away. This is something that will be coming back and back, and it's something that is really good for the businesses as well as the residents, keeping residents here in the county, spending their money here versus going outside and using their ATVs somewhere else. So I just wanted to make sure you're aware that this is definitely something that is growing in this state as a recreational avenue. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll hear from Tim Heller.
Hi there, and thanks for hearing us tonight. I can't add a lot to what was said. There were a lot of good points made. All I can say is that I use the trail a great deal. I haven't noticed any incidents on it. Everybody's pretty respectful. It's good for the economy, and in these times, anything that can bring business into the county and the businesses is something we've just got to do. I mean, it's something that it doesn't cost much for the county to put it on, and I think that's something that I personally get a lot of enjoyment out of. And again, I haven't noticed any problems, and my property borders the trails, so I would wish that you consider to keep it open. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now that is the end of our public comments, except that I would like to add one more thing, and that would be to thank Mary Kunash for all of her years of being such a good friend of the county, and I think Mary would like to introduce her replacement.
Yes, thank you very much. I will be retiring on the 26th of April, and I have been with the Argus for 45 years. I started in September of 1967, and it's been a wonderful ride. Everyone has lakes and streams and beautiful things like we have, but nobody has the people that we have. So I think as technology changed and everything changes, the thing that remained a constant for me was the people that live here and support me. And I thank you for that. And in so doing, we had to find someone to take my place because the Argus can't run without a publisher. So we have hired Matt Pasha. He comes to us from Augusta, Georgia. And I hope you are as nice to him as you have been to me. Thank you. Here's Matt.
Thank you, Mary. If you'd like to, that would be
I just want to introduce myself, Matt Pasha.
Really look forward to continuing her tradition here in the community and serving it properly. So I look forward to meeting all of you and getting to know each and every one. Thank you.
You like cold weather.
Yeah, February.
Thank you. All right, now we need an approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion by Weddy, second by Eckstein. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Okay, we need an approval of the minutes of the March 19th, 2013 meeting. Motion by Larry Crawford,
I can second it.
second by Bernadette Krenz. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. And we have no old business, so we'll move right on to new business, and we're going to go to reports and presentations, and Pat Barrow from the Human Services Department is going to do a report on cost of excessive alcohol use in Waushara County. And thank you, Pat.
Last month, you passed a resolution of April being Alcohol Awareness Month. So I thought this would be a good month to give a presentation on something that just came out in March of this year. So if you want to look at the walls here for the information, you will be getting a packet with everything that you see on the walls, minus the Adams County thing that we'll be showing. The Burden of Excessive Alcohol Use report is the first of its kind in our state, and it offers a comprehensive look at the cost of alcohol misuse, not use, but misuse to our state. And the report found that excessive alcohol consumption costs the state, taxpayers, et cetera, $6.8 billion. This was taken from data in 2011. Now, to put that number in context, the state gave the Department of Education $6.2 billion for their K-12 program. If we divide the cost over the population in Wisconsin for the excessive use, it's going to equal to about $1,200 a year per resident, or for a family of four, $4,800. More than 40% of the cost of alcohol overconsumption are shouldered by taxpayers. That's you, myself, everybody in this room, at a price of $2.9 billion a year. So why is this? Well, Wisconsin has the highest rate of drunk driving in the nation. And the scary thing is that it's not just repeat drunk driving. We see a lot of reports in the paper about how many offenses people have had, but 2/3 of the fatalities, of the deaths caused by drunk drivers, are done by people who have not had an OWI before. So 2/3 of the fatalities are caused by first-time offenders. And drunk driving is just the tip of the iceberg. Every year, 1,500 Wisconsin residents die from alcohol-related causes. Now, when you look at just over 300 of those are from drunk driving, a lot of the others are health-related issues. The report reminds us that excessive alcohol use leads to many health problems, as I mentioned, unplanned pregnancies, falls, drownings, assaults, just to name a few. And it's important to know that in Wisconsin, we are #1 for pregnant women drinking. And we know that when the woman drinks alcohol during pregnancy, that can lead to a variety of fetal alcohol spectrum disorders, which are another cost, especially to our educational system. This report shows that $2.9 billion in costs are lost in productivity. And alcohol overconsumption also cost Wisconsin health insurers and employers over $1 billion a year. I once asked somebody in the city how businesses were going, and she said that some of the businesses, well, many of the businesses that do drug testing are having a hard time finding employees and keeping employees because they can't pass the drug test, which also tests for alcohol use. so businesses would do much better, you know, if people weren't excessively using alcohol. Wisconsin also has the highest binge drinking rates in the nation, and that's men consuming more than five or more drinks on an occasion, and women drinking 4 or more drinks on an occasion. And alcohol consumption is nearly 30% higher than the national average. So, Deb, if you want to go to the next slide, we're going to look at Waushara County. So what is this is Adams County, just a county that's near us. So you can see they're pretty comparable in terms of population and in cost. So now we'll go to Waushara County. Okay, so in Waushara County, the annual economic cost of excessive alcohol use is $28.2 million. And you can see how much of that is in lost productivity, $20.4 million. So our businesses are hurting. And then on the other side, what the taxpayers are paying, what the excessive drinkers and their families are paying, and the others in society, that's the employers, crime victims, health insurers, etc. So the excessive use of alcohol is costing us. And it's, you know, when we looked at the tobacco, you know, when we found out what tobacco was costing us, things were starting to get done. Now we're looking at the alcohol cost to us, and so we're hoping we can turn this around for the state of Wisconsin. Debbie, if you want to raise up the... Okay, so again, we're looking at the excessive alcohol consumption and what it includes, the binge drinking. Heavy drinking is 2+ drinks per day for men, and 1+ drinks for women if they're drinking daily. That is heavy drinking. That is drinking that starts to cause health problems and also impairment problems. And any consumption by youth under 21 is an excessive alcohol consumption, because a lot of it is dealing with the brain growth that we know is going on. And so the brain is just not developing the way it is. Plus, people younger than that, their bodies are still growing. So the alcohol is really different for young people. So we don't want them to drink. And we know there is underage drinking going on in our county. Also, any alcohol consumption by pregnant women is heavy drinking. So one encouraging thing, well, I don't know if it's encouraging or not, but when you look at the binge drinking rates, Waushara County, 21%, at least we're a little better than the state at 23%, but we've got a long way to improve to get to what the nation is, 16%. Okay. So any questions at all on those two sides? This is just the different places where the people who put this together got their research from. Okay, you can keep it on that page for a while, Deb. I'm going to be handing out, well, in your packet is going to be a sheet listing recommendations from the ACE report, which is Alcohol, Culture, and Environmental Work Group recommendations that came out in 2010. And the final recommendations are for municipalities. And I know you all represent municipalities in the county, so you might want to make sure that they are aware of things that they can do at their level. I do want to let you know that our Health Community Health Youth Committee, Sue Szymanski, Jeff Nett, and myself have been going around to the village boards, the City Council of Wautoma. We talked at the local town board association. We also talked to the Springwater town board about passing a social host ordinance that deals with people who provide a place for underage drinking would be cited and would be fined. And there's a certain number, dollar amount for the fines, and also a list of all the places. Now, there is a state ordinance, I think that's what you call it, or is it state statute? Thank you, Ruth. That does say that, you know, if people are providing the place, they can be cited. But Lieutenant Jeff Nett would really like to see this social host ordinance passed because it's more specific as to what the place is. Law enforcement could put more teeth into it if it's passed. And as of now, the Village of Plainfield has passed it. The town of Marion is looking at passing it. The Village of Coloma declined because of they feel that the one, if people are contributing to the delinquency of a minor, might cover it. And the town of Mount Morris also declined because they would like to see the county board pass one for the unincorporated areas in the county. So I would just like to let you know that Marquette County just recently passed the social host ordinance for their unincorporated, and they're now in the process of going to the corporated places because they have to pass it in order for it to be, county-wide. So I would just, if you would like to have Jeff, Sue, and I come and present to you what the social host ordinance is about and consider adopting it on the county level, we have one that's just for the county, we'd be happy to do so. So someone can just let me know. Okay. And also I would just encourage you to, to read the sheet that I will be passing out with this. Now I know, remember years ago, maybe some of you were still on the county board when the prevention people in the state, we were trying to get an alcohol tax on beer passed, and the county board supported that. Well, I think that with this study, we're going to be seeing Health First of Wisconsin start to get the momentum going to raise alcohol tax, because as you remember seeing on the first slide, only 1% of all the costs related to excessive alcohol use is covered by the tax that is collected. So we're losing a lot of money that perhaps those who drink excessively, could help pay for. Okay. So if you want to go, now I'm just going to do a little diversion here and want to talk about the Healthy Community, Healthy Youth Facts that we are having in April, on April 29th. It's going to be at Grace United Methodist Church from starting at 5:45. We have a really good meal. It's free. Randy Thurley is going to be talking about the drugs in Waushara County. We have somebody from the state coming to talk about what's going on in the state. If you want to see the drug dog in person, he will be there and giving us a demonstration how he does the sniffing. And then we're also going to be having someone present who did use drugs and is in recovery. So I really would like to encourage you to attend the facts. I know Bernadette has attended them and has really found them. Should let you talk about that. Yeah. So anyway, just to be familiar with what is going on in our county, and so you know what's going on. Alcohol is still the number one, but the other drugs are also causing a lot of problems. Then with the next one, the Vision 2020 committee, part of the Waushara Prevention Council, also is offering a poverty simulation. There are many, many residents in Waushara County that live in poverty, and this is a great way to understand what it's like for them to make their budget stretch during a month. And one of you have already signed up, so we'll see Bob there. And thanks, Bob. And so we'd like to encourage all of you to come, because when I attended that, being of a middle class, I just really never understood what it's like to be poor, and this really opened my eyes. So I encourage you to attend that. It's free. We're not going to ask for any donations or anything like that. So, okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Pat. And I think that we would like to see the social host presentation along with the ordinance. Is that something we'd be interested in?
Okay. And I ended too soon. from April 15th to June 15th. So I'd encourage all of you, I've got plenty here, to take a sign with the stake and to place it in your yard from now until June 15th. Okay, so thanks again. And who would I give these to pass out?
Does anyone have any questions for Pat? You can sign me up for fax. All right, next we will move on to the Administrative Department Annual Report, and Deb Behringer is going to give us that.
All right, thank you. Let me get this thing going here. Glenn, can I bother you to turn the lights down again? I know. Get those points on your Fitbit. All right. So at the last county board meeting, we decided that, or you decided that each department should come to the county board with their annual report as opposed to a written report. So I'm going to go first. So this is administration. There's 5 full-time staff along with myself. Mike Abbotts is our data processing coordinator. Sandy Grosnick is our payroll coordinator. Michelle Olson is the administrative assistant, and Sean Kelly is our GIS property lister. Cumulatively, we have 94 years of county experience amongst us. Our average age is 53. So I guess what I'm telling you is it's not going to be too long and we're going to have changes in this area. So some of the areas of responsibility, I handle the day-to-day operations, human resources, information technology, and the GIS land information. And the human resource side, we have 21 departments. There are 425 employees, and when I say that, I'm talking about that's how many W-2s were issued in 2012. We have 2 public safety unions, we have 2 general unions, and all the rest are not unionized. Under recruitment in 2012, we processed 47 new hires. We processed 37 terminations. Our payroll is done bi-weekly, and it's through direct deposit. Benefits, we have health insurance, life insurance, short-term disability, retirement, and various paid time off benefits. Policy, along with the union contracts, we do have one major policy, and we did a major revision of that in 2012. Insurances that I manage, workers' comp, it's about $300,000 a year that we pay for workers' comp. That doesn't include the dividend that we get. We've been with Liberty Mutual probably for the last 20 years. This year we switched to Argent, and the reason we switched is Liberty Mutual was not providing any dividends anymore. The economy being as such with the control on the interest rates, that is affecting the insurance companies, and that is affecting what dividend they'll give you. So we did switch to Argent. Our liability is through Wisconsin County Mutual. In 2013, we paid $196,068. That includes policy and deductible. We generally will get a dividend back from them, and it's somewhere between $12,000 and $16,000 per year. Property, we are with the local government insurance property fund. In 2013, that premium is $60,000. I know that sounds like a lot of money, but we have $59 million in buildings and properties. We have $2.7 million in contractor equipment, and we have $4.8 million in trucks and vehicles. Our crime policy is through Fidelity and Deposit Company of Maryland. The cost of that is $1,576 per year. Health insurance, we are with Network Health Plan, and we have been with them for a couple years. We have Hayes Companies as our broker, and they're helping to guide us through the Affordable Care Act changes. In 2012, the health insurance cost was $2,772,049, or $772,049. So when I start talking about if we're going to have a 10% impact increase, that's almost $300,000 just in a 10% increase. And Hayes Companies is telling us with the Affordable Care Act there are going to be increases because we have to subsidize the folks that don't have insurance. So unemployment in 2012 was $26,898. That should drop down again this year. We had some folks that were laid off when the state pulled the state inmates from our jail, and so those will be dropping off soon. Computers, information technology. We have 180 computers and 20 servers. The telephones, we switched over to a voice over IP system last year. We have 245 phones. Copy machines, we have 21 main copy machines. Some of them are also scanners, some of them are also faxes, and then we do have 5 standalone faxes. This is a picture of our one of our computer rooms. We have 2 of them. One is here at the courthouse and one is at the sheriff's department. They have storage array networks in both. That gives us the redundancy, so if the system would happen to go down here, we can still operate, and vice versa. If the system goes down at the sheriff's department, they can still operate. They are backed up daily, and we have a weekly archive system. We also have state networks that we deal with. The DA has the DA net, courts has CCAP, the sheriff deals with Department of Justice and Department of Administration, and Human Services and Child Support deal with DWD. We switched over to Charter last year to give us interconnectivity. So we added the highway, parks, and then the kitchen. And so if you look at this picture, if this system would go down right here, the loop goes back the other way. So the sheriff is never offline. Same with all the other buildings. It's a loop that keeps going and going. And so it's really improved the service. GIS, land records and property lister, that's Sean. The county has 31,500 parcels, 648 square miles, 26 municipalities. We average 7 ownership transfer transactions per day. So that's just one of the things he does daily, and that, recording the splits, and then he maintains all of the mapping. This is, I thought you might get a kick out of this. This is the new plotter that we just bought. It scans, it copies. You can handle 36-inch documents, so it will improve that process. I think Heather's probably excited about that. Is she out there? Okay, risk management. Right now, we've been really looking at office ergonomics because we have so many people that are working at computers, and so Arjun is going through the buildings and looking at that, and Randy's been gracious enough to build me some boxes to raise monitors up. We had our annual safety training. That was just for the general courthouse. We always touch on bloodborne pathogen and MSDS sheets. Health always does a great job teaching bloodborne pathogen, and they try to make it interesting for people. In 2012, we had 36 worker comp claims. Our policy is that you report everything. If you have a paper cut, we want it reported. Not all claims actually amount to anything, but when they do, it's the OSHA 300 form that kicks in. And so in 2012, we had 5 reportable claims that had a total of 20 days of restricted work or 11 days off work completely. Our state mod rate is 0.78, and that's based on your past 3 years of service. 0.78 is a really good rate. The 0.78 is multiplied by the amount of workers' comp you pay. So that number can be as high as 2. The lowest we've ever had it here was 0.58. We had a fairly significant claim that dropped off, it'll drop off this year. So next year should be even better than the 0.78. But we save thousands of dollars by having a good mod rate, so we stay on top of that. Some other duties that I deal with is the budget. We have a $35 million budget. Fixed assets, I monitor that. Again, we have $67 million in assets. The bonding, I worked with the bonding company. The last 2 times we bonded, we have a AA- rating that we got from the S&P in 2011. The county has very high marks in and of itself, but as I think one of our speakers pointed out, that our economy needs a boost here. We have below average income levels and above average unemployment, and those are 2 things that keep us down. I work on policy development and legislative activity. I just wanted to tell you that we are having a legislative breakfast on May 6th at 8 a.m. in the demo room, and all our state reps have been invited to that. I talked to Chair Collada, and she indicated that you certainly are encouraged to come to that. It wouldn't be a per diem, but you would have mileage reimbursed. Some of the other committees that I work with, I'm the secretary for the Fox Valley Workforce Development Board. I'm the secretary-treasurer for the Wisconsin County Execs and Administrator Association. I represent Waushara County on the Selective Service Board. I'm an ad hoc on the Waushara County Economic Development Board, and ad hoc and secretary for the Ethics Board, and an ad hoc for the Personnel Committee. So one of the things that I would do with committees in the past is we would try to do some strategic planning. I think it's really important, you know, we budget from year to year, but I think we have to get back into looking out 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. I think that when legislation's coming through the pike, the earlier that we can know about it, the better prepared we are to make those changes and absorb those costs. And so I mentioned to the department heads at the last meeting that I think what Sheriff Peterson did last month with giving you information, that's really important, and I encourage all department heads to do that, because that's the only way we can stay ahead of this game. We have levy limits and things that we have to follow, and so the more notice we have to make changes, the better off it is. So again, I would really like to encourage the board to have a strategic planning session. I know Wisconsin Counties Association does have some tools that they come to county boards and they work with them. Wisconsin Counties is coming in May, I believe, to do a presentation on the state budget, but aside from that, they can help us do strategic planning. That is all I have. Did anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Deb. We are going to go to discussion and possible action items, and the first one is the motion to approve or deny a waiver of residency requirement for the highway department, for a highway department employee. And that will be Tom Dahlke, and I'm sure he'll tell us everything we need to know.
A few meetings ago, and I don't know how long ago, well, let me back up even farther. Back in the union contract days, there was a residency requirement in the contract, and there was a exception with county board approval. And we never, to my knowledge, used that while it was a contract. And then when the contract disappeared and personnel policy was developed, it also had a residency requirement for the highway department without the exception. That got left out somehow. So a few meetings ago, you guys did approve that language that there could be an exception. So now we have an employee that's been on our eligibility list. We interviewed months ago and filled 4 positions, hired 4 new people because of retirements. And we had 1 person that we put on our eligibility list for the next retirement, or in this case, we had an employee take a different job here recently. So this particular employee lives, and I didn't measure, but it's probably 200 yards outside of the county line south of Dakota. He actually lives closer to the Watoma shop than some of the employees who live in the county. The reason for residence requirements has been response time, because we plow snow and windstorms and ice storms and have trees all over the place, which we just did here recently. Response time is critical. So I'm asking for this exception because we think this guy's going to be a good employee, or he's a qualified employee, and his response time will be as good or better than some that we already have working. And we're hoping that we can get that exception. The other part of the formula, I guess, is that most other departments don't have a residency requirement, so we're being a little different for our department because of response time, but yet the policy for other departments isn't consistent with ours. So that just throw that in for everything. Any questions?
Any questions for Tom?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right. We need a motion to approve. Motion to approve by Eckstein.
I will
second.
second.
By Pat King. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And next, we'll have consideration and possible action on the following resolutions and ordinances.
Resolution number 14-4-13, resolution authorizing sufficient staff for the jail facility.
Okay, you all got information in your packets. You also got a letter from Ruth letting you know that the Public Safety Committee, since there are only 3 of us, wanted to bring this to the full board for their consideration, because this is a substantial amount of money that we're talking about. And the only thing I had to say on this is that in 2011, the board approved bonding for $7.25 million, and many projects were included in the bonding, and one was towers. We did the Spillman program remodel project, Human Services, the Spillman program for the Sheriff's Department, Human Services remodel project, and we turned the Work Release Center into offices. We had the demolition of South Annex, which was sold instead of being demolished, which was a savings to us, actually. We did Next Generation 911, and we did emergency medical dispatch. $22,000 was included in the bonding to complete that project. All of the projects have been completed except emergency medical dispatch, and therefore, it's my recommendation that the county board postpone the resolution to increase staffing in the county jail until emergency medical dispatch has been completed. Upon installation of the program and training of dispatchers for EMD, the resolution can then be brought back to the county board for action. Now, I hope that you'll have a really good discussion concerning all of this, and please ask any questions. I'm sure the sheriff will be more than happy to answer questions. Yes, Everett?
All this is above and beyond what is budgeted, right? What is in Dave's budget?
Yes, it's all above and beyond.
You mentioned earlier that there was a significant increase in the cost in this. I didn't hear any figures of what the cost would be if this total thing were to be approved with, let's see, 22 additional people, the way it looks to me.
No, it's not 22. It's
No.
22 altogether.
That's
Yeah.
what I meant.
Yeah.
4 corrections.
So you would,
12 correction officer positions, 4 relief corrections, 1 correction sergeant, and 1 jail administrator chief
that,
deputy position.
that is the total that he's suggesting. So I pulled out the resolution that you approved last time. So this is just the total number. So I don't believe it's this
Well-
many additional positions. It's just,
How many additional positions?
I'm thinking it's about 5, but I guess I'd have to defer to Dave or George on
Dave,
that.
how many? 5?
At what cost, Dave?
If it's the 5, when I compared the last resolution to this resolution, it's about $480,000 in 2012 or 2013 rates. So,
Any other discussion? Questions?
What? I've read a bunch of stuff here that I was provided with earlier, and I'm a little bit confused as to why so many more are needed when we dropped the number of people that we have, a number of beds available with when you added the work release center and to the main jail, and we lost the state prisoners. So what is the average daily population now compared with what it was when we had the state here?
George, that would be you. Please.
The average daily population so far this year is hovering around 80 county inmates. When we had the state here, it was, and I've provided some figures before, but it was roughly about 10 to 15 county inmates less. But the state obviously posted those numbers, but we also had the 2 facilities, so we, spread the county state contract, we also lost a significant portion of our revenue that was coming into the sheriff's department. So there was some scrambling, trying to make budget, trying to figure out what we actually, at bare bones needed to run the jail, make budget, and sort of adjust our personnel. And that's what we did. But at the same time, as last month's presentation, the PREA standards that are coming out and compliancy is due around August sometime this year. We're not fully disclosed. They weren't fully available. We were still developing. We were still looking at what they're going to actually have the jails do, at what level they're going to require it. And so now those PREA standards are out. The compliancy is due about mid-August this year. There's going to be audits that follow after that. And as the sort of the birth of this new staffing resolution is in hopes that we would have the adequate staff necessary to comply with the federal PREA standards.
Those PREA stats that you're talking about now, there's obviously no funding made available through the federal government for that, is there?
There's no funding available to the counties to meet compliancy, at least not for staffing as far as I know.
Is that mandated by state or federal?
Federal.
Federal. And this money would come from?
I guess that would be up to the county board, but generally in these situations, when you're doing something midstream, you would have a resolution that would do up to a certain amount would come from surplus. So the department would do what they can to absorb the cost, but then there would be money that would be transferred to surplus to cover the overage.
Okay, that's okay for this year, but then next year,
You would have to try to work that into the budget.
What, I'm only an alternate on public safety and was not involved with the discussions on this. What does public safety have to say about it? Who's in here from public safety?
I told you what I just had to
Oh,
say
I
about
understand
it.
yours.
Yes.
Pretty much agree with Mark. I don't know where the money come from. It's not that it's not a bad idea. I can understand the problems they're facing, but where is the money coming from?
Now, if this resolution were to be adopted tonight as it's presented, it would take place this year, or be enacted this year.
Yes.
Again, I guess that would be up to you to define that.
You go with less members and less staff rather than all 5? Does it definitely need 5?
What he's asking for.
Donna, if we went with your suggestion and asked him to have the emergency medical dispatch up and going before how long would it take to do that before we can come back on this so that we aren't in trouble with the federal government as far as the mandates?
Brian, do you have any idea how long it would, if we went to emergency medical dispatch, how long it would take to get everybody trained and?
It would probably within a month or two. It's a matter of scheduling them to come in to install the software and then do the training.
So it would be possible to do that and still come back on this and possibly get it done before the August deadline, or is that deadline, is that down now? Is that, does?
It is, and whatever you decide, I will sit here tonight and be honest with you that I don't think we will be 100% compliant by August. There's too much for George and I to do. There's, we'll do the best that we can, but I do not think we will be 100% compliant by August, even if this passed tonight, or if it passed in 2 months, or if it passed in 6 months.
But we're not the only county that is in this position, right?
No, the entire country is in this position. I don't know where other counties are at with their process.
No,
We have been working on it. We've been doing webinars. We've been looking at our policies. We've been talking about the trainings. We've been looking at our facilities. But there's a lot to it, and George and I are not going to bring us fully compliant by August under any circumstances.
Now, the ramifications of not being compliant are,
If we get audited, we could lose some of our contracts. We could lose some of our federal funding.
what federal funding are we talking about?
Said there was none. We could lose the money, we could lose having, because all of the state facilities have to be PREA compliant. So right now, we're getting some people that are being placed with us who are like, about ready to be released. We could lose that. We could lose some of our alternative to revocation people. We could lose some money for probation and parole. We could potentially lose some of the money that we get from the, policing grants. We don't know for sure because they haven't indicated exactly what all grants they're gonna tie it to. So,
Okay.
it's a very amount of pots that we could possibly lose. But it would take us being audited, and do I also think Washington County is gonna be audited exactly on the deadline? No, I don't, because there are state facilities that are probably at higher risk than us that are probably gonna be audited. The, state facilities down in, in Milwaukee and Kenosha that are housing federal inmates are gonna be more likely to be audited before us because the federal facilities are already supposed to be compliant. So, we're not directly housing federal inmates, so I don't know that we're gonna be at the top of the list for an audit.
Right, and we no longer have state inmates, and we don't have inmates from other counties, right?
This time.
Okay.
I'd like to hear from some of the other members.
Yes, Joe?
I agree with the letter that you wrote. And I think we can bring it back and reconsider it. But if it comes back for reconsider it, I want to see some numbers on that sheet. I want to see not 5 employees. I want to see they need this person, this is the pay. You can't give somebody carte blanche and say, here, hire 5 employees. We have to know what we're hiring, what we're paying these people. I just can't give out money, in my opinion, without knowing what we're giving it out for. We've had that problem of giving money and not getting done what the money was intended to do. So if this is black and white, this is what we need and why we need it, we can reconsider it down the line. That's my opinion.
I want to know how much of an effort it would be to reach compliancy without adding these 5 people.
Okay, Dave wants to talk.
There's too many questions out there.
The resolution we have here tonight is very similar to what was suggested or recommended when we first opened that jail prior to the work release center being open. So we're not going any farther than that, and we have the additional requirement of that PREA brings along. We also have a change in the attitude, I guess, and demeanor, the type of inmates they were housing. They come with more mental illness, they come with more violent tendencies, and currently, the way we're operating with, most of the time, 3 corrections officers on a shift. One of whom is in master control and cannot leave. One who should be in housing and should not leave. That leaves 1 person on the floor in addition to a booking. The PREA requirements and all other stuff is stuff that we have to do. I guess my main concern is sending 1 correction officer into a cell block and having something bad happen to that person. I don't think I have done my job as sheriff if I
permit that to happen, and I believe that the county board and the county has some liability. I think we're operating, the way we're operating now, we're setting ourselves up for something bad to happen either to one of my corrections officers, or even worse than that, probably, from a financial liability standpoint, is if another inmate gets hurt, and their loving family comes and sues us. As far as the EMD, if you want to tie, hold us hostage on EMD with this, that's fine. But back in May of 2011, I told you what I thought we needed to do in order to do EMD. That was upgrade the 911 system, the next generation, remodel the dispatch center so it's ergonomically correct and up to industry standards, and hire at that time 2 more dispatchers so we could cover. With this resolution, we figured that if we did EMD, we would take 1 additional dispatcher and remodel of the when you approved the bonding, you didn't approve the remodel, nor the next generation 911. We were forced into doing the next generation 911 because what we had didn't work with the new phone system, so we had to. And that's done. As far as the jail goes, it's strictly pretty much applying or complying with the standards as they exist in the near future and safety of staff. And I think there's been some incidents close by that have illustrated what can happen. I've provided you that information. There's been incidents in other jails that we have avoided as far as inmate deaths, but those are not things that we want to happen here, either an inmate death or harm to our corrections officers.
Yes.
Dave, if there was a problem on the floor, as you said, how quickly could one of those other people get to help?
Well, not quick enough, probably.
Yeah, yeah.
Now I use the Marathon County as an example. I provided you that information. 2 people went into that cell block. One of them is still in critical condition. The other one has been treated and released, and they were there together, and they were saved by the inmates, the other inmates that helped them. One person in a cell block with a dozen inmates is not good odds. And I understand the money, I really do. As far as Joel's question, it's 5 line correction officers. I don't know what the dollar value, the dollar cost on that is. I would probably imagine it would change somewhat if it was family insurance or not family insurance. And 1, I guess a supervisory position could be an additional corporal or a sergeant, somebody to take on some of the responsibilities that George has taken on, is responsible for, in addition to his chief deputy responsibility.
My understanding that we cannot be in compliance unless we have these 5, or can we get in compliance without these 5?
Doesn't make us in compliance if you hire 10. 10 people isn't going to make us in compliance. It's everything else that needs to be done.
But when you're struggling to keep your head above water, you just can't take on any more tasks. For instance, and I guess maybe George can explain this better, the incident they had in the jail the other day, there would have been a 3 incidents that you told me about a few days ago. I can't remember what it was. Was it somebody, one inmate called another?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and this is the genesis or the basis of PREA is, it's called the Prison Rape Elimination Act, like we explained last time, but it goes beyond prison rape, sexual harassment, inmate on inmate, staff on
George, I apologize, but they're not able to hear you.
Sorry,
Okay.
I usually don't have that problem. But anyways, we had an incident in the jail the other day where inmate was being harassed essentially by two cell block mates about his sexual orientation. Now staff handled it. They handled it with internal discipline. The PREA standards aren't in play yet, but as those are put into play, and we have a harassing situation like that, we now have to look at any possible criminal activity that might be, involved in this, which is going to take up detective time, it's going to take up further staff time, district attorney time, and all the way down the line. But it's going to be a much more comprehensive and precise handling of those incidents rather than keeping it as it has been, as it currently is now, and as it has been since I've been in this business since 1995, a strictly a jail issue. And so those are the things that are going to take up the additional time. And as far as compliancy, and whether or not we would meet compliancy, Ruth's right, we have no idea when we're going to get audited. They're just going to start auditing come August. Chances that we come up first on the board is absolutely probably close to nil. But we have to keep working towards compliancy. And one of the first things that's in the PREA standard that's in our new policy manual is that the sheriff is endeavored with appointing a PREA administrator, and that PREA administrator is to ensure that there is sufficient staff to handle the safety, security, and welfare of the inmates, to properly monitor them and make sure that any PREA-related complaints are adequately, overseen by staff. I currently do not believe that we have the consistent, adequate staffing to provide for that. And like Dave said, more times than not, we have 3 staff members available in the jail, and one's tied up in master control at all times. There are cameras throughout most of the facility, but standards and practices or trainings, best practices say that cameras are not replacement for physical eyes on inmates, physical presence in the inmate's presence. And so now you're left with 2 officers to run our whole facility, and most of you have been through our facility, and there's square footage there. It's a large facility. And often the officers are going into these situations one-on-one. And so it's the response time for one other officer to respond to another officer that might be in distress or handling a situation is fairly minimal. It depends on what's going on and where that officer is at. But that officer, if the other officer is in the cell block and incapacitated, should not enter into that cell block themselves, because they're just entering into a hostile situation. Now we're going to have to wait for road officers to respond, depending on the time of day and where they're located. That could be 15, 20 minutes response time. So that's what we're dealing with, and I don't think we're asking for the moon by asking for one additional staff member on each shift. But at the same time, I think it provides a safer environment. It brings us to compliancy that I would be satisfied as the PREA administrator to say, this is what I think is sufficient to make to be compliant with your standards. And that's what's in the resolution before you.
George, I have a question. Do you have much forced overtime with your staff?
When you say much, we do, and this is a tough time. We're going through a baby boom at our sheriff's department. So we're scheduling as much as we can. We're offering it up. But there is more forced overtime since our staff reduction, yes. And there's some other contract stuff that where people want to take overtime during certain times and not during other times. It depends on how it's paid out. I don't want to go down that road, but yes, there's an increased amount of forced overtime.
The reason I asked that question is because I worked in corrections for 30 years, and 17 of those as a supervisor, and 10 of those as a senior supervisor. And I saw the effects of long-term forced overtime on staff, and people don't see that on their, it's not just on them, but on their families, and actually in the long run you decrease their efficiency. I wish there was a way we could give you 7, 10 correctional officers, you know, if I had a check, you know, been there, done that, you know. I know exactly what you're going through. I know what it's like to go into a cell block where there's something going on and there's just 2 of you, you know. I know what it's like when you've got a 2-man escort and he starts acting up and there's nobody else around. You know, that's a damn scary thing, and people get hurt, you know, and people forget that part of our job is to protect the inmates from each other, not to just hold them, and to protect the staff from the inmates, you know.
Well, and it's a different kind of overtime. It's not an overtime where you're sitting behind the desk or behind a computer or reducing your contact with other individuals. It's forced contact with multiple people that don't care for you too much. And that's the overtime. So they have that on their regular shifts, and then you need them to come in and do that some more.
I used to get cards on Mother's Day.
Usually the avoid forced overtime, George comes in and works the 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. shift. That's the toughest one we have to fill.
Okay, now, and I'm sure you noticed with that Marathon County article we had, that's a 279-bed facility, and at the time of the accident, they were housing 286 people, so they were overcrowded, and, you know, that could have led to some of the problems. Yes, Pat?
If we do not act tonight, I'd like to have a tour of the jail myself. I've never really, I'd like to see it. I don't know exactly what.
Pods and all of
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I'm looking at, I'm looking at it from not a distorted view of what's going on. I think it would probably behoove all the county board members before we make that decision to maybe take a tour of it. And
Arrange a tour?
Anytime anyone would like, individually, as a group, come around all the time. So if I'm not around, they'll find someone who is.
More discussion? Yes, Larry?
One thing I don't understand is that the federal government is making this mandate and not providing any funds to implement it. The state has levy limits as far as how much we can raise our budgets. And so we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. And why isn't our counties association or our sheriff's association or these kind of things promoting things to help to correct this? It's not just affecting us, it's affecting all the counties in the state or in the country.
And right now, the position that people are taking is that it's not punitive because we're telling you that you have to do it, but we're not fining you if you don't. It's like when they said that you needed to raise your drinking age to 21 or we were going to take away your transportation aids. So you could still not do it, but we might take something else away from you. So that's how people are viewing PREA. We don't have to do it, but they might take stuff away from us if we don't. Which could also hurt the county then because it's taking away a revenue stream that we're used to.
Yes, Everett?
Ruth, a question. If we show that we're trying to be in compliance, if we show that we've, you know, are moving towards this, and they decide to audit us, you think they'd cut us any slack at all? The fact that it's in progression, we're working on it?
I think so. I mean, I think it will be kind of like HIPAA. You know, if you have a HIPAA violation, which is the medical privacy one, want. And so, because we had taken some steps to do some of this stuff, they didn't levy a fine against us. HIPAA's a little different because they actually levy fines, but they didn't levy a fine against us. They wanted us to do some additional training and I got some additional work and do some more tweaking of our policies. But it did help because we were doing that. So I would think that instead of immediately pulling the plug on the money, that they would say, okay, you're making an effort, but I need you to do this, this, and this by this date, and maybe give us some like specific dates as to when certain more things would have to be done. I don't know that for sure, but that'd be my best guess.
And a good portion of being PREA compliant is the training, isn't it?
That's a lot of it.
Yeah, and George will be doing the training, I'm assuming? Right, right. Because according to Dave's presentation last month, the loss in revenue would be 175,000 to 200,000. Now that included, I think, inmates that we can no longer take state inmates, but we can't. I mean, we aren't anyway. They're not putting them in our facility anyway, or any other state.
Well, I
county.
think probation and parole,
What they
right?
are is they're extended sanction inmates. And what it is probationer that has violated probation needs to be locked up. In probably 5 years ago, would have been revoked and sent back to whatever institution or county they need to go to. Now they're putting all of us on extended sanction. They're paying us to house them at the rate that we used to get, but it's like a 90-day sanction in lieu of being removed off of probation. And those are the ones that we're housing.
How many?
We're probably averaging 8 to 10 per day. So, but if we're not, if the gavel drops and we're deemed not PREA compliant, those inmates we lose because then the state becomes non-compliant by housing them with a non-compliant facility. So they would no longer house them with us.
Right.
I'd like to see that emergency medical dispatch, but we have to do this also. And I'm a tiny bit offended by the being held hostage. I think that's kind of strong, Dave. But I would like to see that, because we've been working on that for a long time. But if we could do that, work on this PREA. I would also like a tour of the jail, just to see, so we can point out this is this way and that is that way. I think we have some new members, and it would be informative for all of us. And then we could make some decisions based on, you know, it's something that I think is going to have to be done. We just want to do it in the most economic way we can.
Are you talking about PREA now?
Talking about everything, yes. That's just a suggestion. I'm throwing it out to the rest of the board.
So would you like to make a motion?
Yes.
Which is?
Larry.
But what's the
He
motion?
didn't make a motion.
We don't know what it is yet.
Oh, I thought you
Yeah,
said yes.
what I said.
Oh, you said yes.
No, I would like to see the emergency medical dispatch. It sounds like it can be done within a shorter period of time than I thought it could. And then and in the meantime, have a tour of the jail. Now, that shouldn't all be in the same motion, but this is something I'd like to see. I'll make the motion to have the emergency medical dispatch to go ahead with that, whatever we have to do for that. What?
Finished.
Yes.
Finished.
Up and operational.
Are you tabling this resolution to like a specific meeting?
That would be another motion.
Or
wouldn't it?
postponing it? I think we can,
Well, you can't really make a motion to say do emergency medical dispatch if you're not talking about the resolution, because emergency medical dispatch is not on the agenda. So you can table this resolution to a date certain with stating it's probably not gonna pass unless you do this. but you can't make a motion on emergency medical dispatch because emergency medical dispatch is not on tonight's agenda.
Put it on next month's agenda?
But we still need to do something with this, either deny it, accept it, table it, because that is on your agenda today.
I'll make a motion to table this ordinance.
Get information like Joe has wanted.
So Dave, maybe you and I can sit down and you can give me the specific positions that you're really looking for, so I can give them the hard data then for next time.
Okay, we have a motion to table
I think
this
we should get a date, so
resolution.
we're tabling it too.
Date certain?
Pardon me?
Good last time. Put a date on it.
Motion to table till May.
Sure.
Motion to table this until May. And at that time, we will also discuss, we'll have emergency medical dispatch on the agenda for May. And a second by Pat. We don't need roll call. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Okay, resolution number 15-4-13. Resolution authorizing use of bond funding to pay off remaining kitchen balance.
Deb, you want to talk about? Deb Behringer is going to talk about this?
Okay, thanks, Debbie. I asked the executive committee if they would consider this. When we were preparing for the bond, we had project after project that came in and was approved to be part of the bond. And the kitchen, the commission really wanted to move ahead with that project, and so they offered that they would, do fundraising and try to figure out a way to pay for that. And that broke away from how we normally would handle things. I was uncomfortable with how that was set up, because really, who owns that building then? Is it the commission, or is it the county? So I'm just hoping that if we just pay off the rest of that building, it's the county building, the county's responsible for the maintenance. It just clears that whole issue up. And also, I quite honestly, the commission and all their volunteers did an awesome job doing fundraising for this, but I think that we should treat this project like we have other projects, and that we should just use bond money to pay off the balance. And we do have sufficient bond money to pay off the balance.
Motion that we use the bond money to pay off the kitchen.
Bernadette. Motion by Bernadette, second by Larry Kropp. Are you seconding,
No,
Larry?
I want,
Oh, just second.
the way I
Let's
understood,
get our second, and then we'll discuss.
second it.
Okay. All right, second by Bob, and now discussion.
the way I understood when we built the kitchen, it was going to be self-supporting, and we give them a deal on it. I mean, the county put the money in. Aren't they paying the county back? Why wouldn't it be
Over 40 years.
Okay, why wouldn't it be the county's, on county property, right?
Okay, it's just that it's not clear. It's just not clear who's going to be responsible for it, for the maintenance, the roof repair. Is it going to be the county, or is it going to be the commission?
No, if I build a house and I said I'd pay for it, if the roof went to hell, I'm sure I'd be the one that would have to put the roof on.
Again, it's your call. I guess I just don't understand why this project is handled different than all the other projects in the county.
And there is money left from, they came in under budget on the offices, and also then, we didn't have to pay for the demolition of the building. We sold that, the South Annex, rather than demolishing it. So I think that, and they have worked very, very hard to pay back what they have. And it's like half, isn't it? You paid back almost half. So, do we have any other discussion?
Would they
Yes,
be,
Larry.
who would we be paying the money to?
ourselves.
Yeah, we're paying it to us.
Goes from one fund to the
Just
other.
clearing up the books and everything.
Taking out of one pocket and putting it in another.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dennis?
I have a question concerning the fact that they have over $190,000 in equity into that project. How does that get then turned over to the county? I mean, that's nearly 50% of the equity.
It already is.
Yeah, but
It's always been
what
a
you were
county
saying,
road.
Deb, what you were saying is if they continued to pay it off, there's some loophole somehow that you're thinking that it wouldn't be considered a county building, you know, and if the money was taken out of the remaining of the bond funds to pay this off, there's still, the way I look at it, almost 50% of equity that came through donations and so on from the commission.
Mhm.
What happens with that? Is that all going to be swept into the, so it is one pot?
It's already been transferred, so it's already paying off that part of the loan. We, in essence, gave them a 40-year loan.
I know, I remember that
Okay.
part, sure.
Okay, any other discussion? Do we need a roll call vote on this?
Okay, Mrs. Krantz.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Mr. Tim.
Yes.
Mr. Piaski.
Yes.
Mr. Eckstein.
Yes.
Mr. Weddy.
Yes.
Mrs. Colonna.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Mr. Wada.
Yes.
Mr. Crawford.
Yes.
Resolution number 16-4-13, resolution opposing the provisions of Assembly Bill 85 and Senate Bill 95 that seek to control the percentage of local property tax dollars allotted to specific county departments.
Ruth? Do you want?
Okay, I
Okay.
guess I
Deb's on
can, all right. So the state has introduced a bill that it really is targeted at Milwaukee County right now, that they want to restrict what the county board supervisors are paid, that they shouldn't be full-time, they should be part-time. So it really has absolutely no impact on Waushara County at this point in time. It's more the principle of the thing that is it really the state's business to decide how counties should be organized and how they should handle their own boards. So that's basically, it's just a resolution saying, hey, state, this really isn't any of your business, so.
I would move to approve the resolution.
Motion by Weddy, second by Eckstein. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Resolution number 17-4-13, resolution supporting efforts to maintain the tax exempt status of municipal bonds.
Motion by Piaski, second by Jones. Any discussion, questions?
Again, this is just legislature actions at the federal level that they are trying to take away the tax exempt status of municipal bonds. If they take that away, it's going to drive up the interest rates and it will impact all taxpayers. And so that's what they're trying to stop that from happening.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Ordinance number 558, an ordinance extending ordinance 538, NJA Chapter 50, Article 4 ATVs of the Waushara County Code.
Before you make a motion, there were two new ordinances on your desk when you came tonight. When the packets went out, Public Works had not met again. And after your packets went out, Public Works met again, and they also recommended extending it at their secondary meeting after their packets went out. So the amended ordinances at your desk are your two options. Both of them now indicate that Public Safety recommended extending and Public Works recommended extending. But one of them talked about it, so I don't know if your intent was to extend it for another year or extend it indefinitely. So those are your two options for your choice tonight.
Bob?
I will make a motion to extend it indefinitely.
Second.
Okay, we have a second by Larry Crouch back there. But you can third it.
I'll third it then.
Okay. Okay. We have a motion, a second. Do we have any discussion? Larry?
Is it possible to repeal a resolution if something comes up that would cause us to want to do that?
Yes. You just have to let me know when we bring it back on an agenda that we're repealing something. We have repealed ordinances in the past when state laws have changed or when the county has made a decision to do something differently.
We can take indefinitely out of that motion?
Well, I just don't want, well, the way I have it written is because it was written previously only going to a date specific, so I need to clean that language up in the code book to say that it's now until further action of the county board, is the way I have it written.
It makes
Oh,
sense
Joe,
to,
I'm sorry.
Will that ordinance still have the provision in there that if there's complaints or issues arising, that we can repeal it
You can repeal any ordinance that you have adopted
anytime?
at any time.
So we have to have an out if there's problems.
Ordinances are at your pleasure, so if you want them gone, they are gone.
Bob?
it makes sense to do it indefinitely, because we can always come back and visit this issue at any time. You know, be it 9 months or 24 months.
Just adopt it as that ordinance without a date on it.
Further action.
I don't like the indefinitely either.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Me?
Ordinance number 559, an ordinance amending Washington County Code, Article 3, Food Safety and Recreational Licensing Program.
Mr. Chairman,
Dennis?
I would move to approve ordinance number 559.
Motion by Weddy, second by King. Are there any questions or any discussion? Do you need to hear from Patty, or are you okay with what you got in your packet? Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have appointments. Board of Adjustment, Vern Tollickson as an alternate. He's from Berlin, and his term will be from May 2013 to April 30, 2016. Commission on Aging would be Karen Ann Pettit. Plainfield, term May 1st, 2013 to April 30th, 2016. Transportation Coordinating Committee will be Bill Rosano. Watoma, term May 1st, 2013, April 30th, 2016. And the Winnifox Library System Board of Trustees be Jim Miller, Watoma, term May 1st, 2013, and April 30th, 2016. We'll have a motion on all. Motion by Bob Waddle, second by Bernadette. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Same sign. And we have a proclamation declaring May 19th through the 25th, 2013 as EMS Week. Brian, would you like to elaborate on some of the things you're going to be doing during EMS Week?
Yeah, typically every year, the EMS does these, I guess I give, I don't know what it's called, Thursday evening from like 4 to 7 or something, right outside of the courthouse, we'll have a helicopter come in, we'll have games and games and teams and stuff. I apologize, my first time through here, so I'm trying to remember what we have planned. I know we're gonna be going around all the schools and visiting the young kids in ages 1 through 5, and doing presentations there, showing them the MOTs. We do have steering helicopters coming into, Aspiros, coming into Wild Rose Fire Department on Monday night, May 20th, from 4 to 7 p.m. doing a drilling brief. If anybody's interested, for all first responders, I'm sure the county board's invited too. I'll be getting more out on that. I'm not sure what else we have. We're maybe looking at some other activities, but I know we keep pretty busy with schools during the week. So.
Sounds great. Thank you. we have a motion?
Before we break, I would
We
like
have-
to,
We have to have a motion on that.
I'll make the motion to
I'll
approve.
second.
Okay, we have a
How's
motion
that?
and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Everett,
Sorry.
no problem.
No, before we break, we have to, set up a time to view the jail. And best is to do it when everybody can look at their calendars and see, when we're all available.
I didn't bring my
So let's pick a date.
As a group?
You're more than welcome to come one at a time, or whenever works out. If it doesn't, if one day works out for you, Everett, you can come on that day, and Pat can come on a different day.
Whatever, I just thought,
Be easier
if
for
we all
them.
been at once, it'd only take up your time when, you know.
We're there every day.
Open 24 hours?
24 hours.
We know the close.
I have a question for Dave. Would it be less distracting if it wasn't a tour of 11 people at one time?
We'll make it happen, however, it's best in your schedule.
You could cuff us in and
Okay,
then we
so
wouldn't
then
look so
I think maybe if you want to go together, you can get together and,
You want to get cuffed? I'll train your wife.
She doesn't need training.
okay, do you just want to go on your own or make your own arrangements?
It'd be easier if we went, it's 3 or 4 of us anyway.
Want to look at a date?
Is there any time that's handier than another, George or Dave?
Jordan will give you lunch if you go at lunch.
Day of the week or something like that?
No, it's really, there's really no particular day of the week. Afternoons are generally better than mornings. So, but however, whatever and however you guys want to come. Would you like to come for lunch? I'm serious.
No, I know, but
You want to come for lunch? We'll have a lunch for you, and then you can see what the food is too.
You're gluten-free, Everett, you can't eat lunch there.
probably can't eat what you have. No, I appreciate it, but, yeah, I'm on a special diet. Let's get at least a half a dozen though at a time, so we're not just trooping in there all the time. I think that'd be easier. Somebody pick a day, when?
Name a date and we'll see if we can come.
Well, April Fool's Day is past, so.
What?
Some of us are still working.
Well, you go at night. Go at night. Sure.
When is your normal?
Our tour, George, when do we inspect, or the committee inspects the jail in June, don't we?
Yeah, it's generally spring, early summer.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which month.
Okay.
Well, you want to do it May 1st, which is your next meeting, public safety meeting.
Do it before the meeting?
Do it before the meeting, we'll put together.
Have your meeting,
The meeting starts at
4:30.
4:30, so,
30 in the afternoon.
yep.
We do it like at 3 o'clock, or? Wednesday, May 1st?
May 1st.
At 3 o'clock.
Then if we do it that way, then we can also consider that our
And if it
normal
doesn't
tour,
work
Or
for
safety
the
tour.
working gentlemen out there, they can do it after the meeting or whatever. Okay.
First, yeah.
Okay, then that is when,
May 1st at 3:30?
May 1st at 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock?
George?
I have a
Okay.
conflict that day, but I'll do it some other time.
Okay, yeah, Bill.
Well, if anybody has a conflict that day, they can just reschedule for another time.
Yeah, that's what Larry said, he would reschedule because he has a conflict. Okay,
Write that down somewhere.
do we have any other business? Is there anything you want to have put on the agenda for next month? Any suggestions? Besides, what we already have said we want on there.
Move to adjourn.
Motion by Eckstein to adjourn. Second by Crawford. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign.
done. Stick a fork in us.
Judas Proust.
Tomorrow we got zoning, right?
Judas Proust.
That's what I thought.
We got a good day to go to work today.
We have some signing to do.
I don't know if that makes any difference.
Got 2 tower sites and have a
Yeah,
travel
maybe.
trailer.
Hey, Scott.
And a Mississippi school.
Hi, Scott. Okay,
You wanna
this
play
is
in a
the one.
I hope I have it in here. I thought I stuck it in my purse.
School for different organizations.
Did you see this?
Hill sites, and they make them dehydrated and
For
freeze
that,
them.
for
And they deliver. That's the one with all
Nice to
this
have
over
over
there.
there.
They want to move out there. Not our
Wow, it
kids.
was pretty nice.
The kids
I
over
thought
there.
maybe that
They're going out there.
project for the summer.
But they want to move this.
So anyway, I thought it was really nice. You can keep that, but it has like what,
Go from there.
well, what you can recycle. I thought it was had a lot of good information. But anyway, but if you, it's yours.
Yeah, I thought I see you.
Yeah, yeah.
Last couple of days, I got all these little ones.
The microphone's off. Part of that triconic.
I'm glad I didn't,
I would think the haulers would do it.
well, you got haulers.
You survived this meeting. I am so impressed.
You gotta missed you.
I cannot believe you're here, number one.
Sorry, Scott.
We haven't heard anything.
This one is the ordinance that
What do you
says
think
it's
of little
extended
Giovanni
to further
Gallardo
action.
and those
So I held back you signing it until I knew the right.
irritated? I was talking to Georgia on the way up here, and it's almost like their season is over.
Thank you.
Almost like their season is
Sick
done.
again?
Yes. They've had so much renown.
You have to disinfect this then?
The school wants to sell